happening here and what is being said. Now, there's a guy I just discovered his channel. His name is Frank Zanu, and I think the guy makes a lot of like great commentary on things pertinent to the continent, things pertinent to development, and various things that needs to be done. And he had an interview with there was a podcast, I think it's called State of the Nation, in South Africa, and was talking to the gentleman, and they had a good discussion. And it kind of like there's some of the problems with Africa. And I'm the type of person that, like the catchphrase for this channel is thought provoking. So things that provoke my thoughts, and I always like to hear new perspective. And when I was listening to the interview, I was like, you know what, this is something I should definitely share with you guys. So I'm going to share the video, but we're going to discuss after the video. I'm going to like share my view and some of the points that were raised in this conversation was that why Africa continues to blame a system of government that it didn't create. And if you watch my channel, you know what I think about democracy in Africa. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about why democracy itself may not be able to fix Africa. Another thing that I observed was that where African countries really ever, like, did Africans really get independence? Like, most African countries received independence in the 1960s and, it's celebrated. But is that really independence in its true form? And also, one question I always ask, and the same thing in football, you have all these people who play for a country, right? But they were not born in the country. And whenever I talk about it, people say, oh, well, you might not be born in a country and you stay. I don't believe that. I think there's a certain element of patriotism that you have when you're born and you live the experience of the country. Now, that brings us to the point that how can Africans really be patriotic to a country or a system that they didn't build? Now, the last point is that as an African, do you see yourself as your tribe first and then the country? I want you to think about this. And then once I'm going to play the video and then we're going to discuss some of these points. I'll see you guys soon.
In the ego, we need a think tank to help us, to talk about it. Africa doesn't need doers anymore. Africa needs people to think, rethink the whole thing, because it has gone past the threshold. All other countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, you name it, South Korea, there is a threshold of about 25 years. When the condition goes away, everybody expects for you to start showing signs of that you can do it, you have the potential. Ghana got independence March 6, 1957. 1957 to 2025, we are talking about almost what? 70 years. It's about.
Yeah.
How can people continue to say, let's wait and use the same method? Let's pick. It is proven, Mike, and Africans should believe this. The process of mass election, pick one of you and pray to God, He will fix us. We have seen that process will never fix Africa. No, it will never fix it. It's been shown. All you have to do is 3 times is the charm, right? 3 times is the charm. So, at this point, go ahead.
I presume programs like DEI in America, diversity, equity, and inclusion, Black economic empowerment in South Africa, exacerbates the problem.
It does.
Plays into the same problem.
That's correct.
It's giving you something to blame.
That's correct. That, you see, here is the thing. Where people look out the window and see across the street that Mike and his friends are able to climb a tree with only one hand. Well, I'm a human being. Mike is a human being. The philosophical argument that can never be negated is that humans are mortal. Frank is human, Mike is human, therefore Mike and Frank will die one day. Okay, because it has been proven over time. So when you see Mike and his friends climbing a tree with one hand, you say, oh boy, but they are human. I can also climb a tree with one hand. So you step outside and try to climb a tree with one hand. Now, when you realize, oh shoot, these people must be different. Now you have to find a reason. You concoct a reason to tell people why you are not doing it. You see, here is the thing that went wrong. The early independent, they call them independence fathers, Julius Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, all of them, Kaunda of Zambia. They took power from their colonizers. And they said they wanted to become independent. What happened was not independence. That is not independence. African countries did not fight for independence, and they have not initiated independence. The countries I just mentioned were not put together by Africans who live in it. Rhodesia, southern or northern Rhodesia, was not put together by the Africans who live in it. Nigeria was not put together by the tribes that live in it. Ghana was not put together by the tribes that live in it. Benin, Togo, Mali, none of them. So the true independence would have been, you'd have told the Europeans, please go, because we want independence, not from you, but from each other. Because we were independent tribes and you force us together. So you say to the colonizer, please leave because we want independence from each other. So after the colonizer left, the countries should have turned to each other and say, goodbye. Mr. Kosa, you and your people go back to where you were. The Zulus go to where you were, and the rest. That would have been the real independence.
And how would that have solved the developmental problem, or wouldn't it have solved a problem? Would things look different if that was done?
One thing you should keep in mind, okay? We can't continue using the word developmental. There is no process. Nobody goes to school to learn that, right? So the tribes, if they have one language, one identity, one philosophy, they make up their own self-determination and create a competition among the tribes. So now they can choose to go outside and contract with others who have done it. But what you're looking at today is you're asking a group, I'm writing a book called A Country Without People. So you're asking a group of people who never build something, which is the countries they occupy today, and asking them to become patriotic to something they didn't build. So even talking about even development, it's putting the cart before the horse. Multitude of tribes that has totally distinct language. And wherever language is different, the culture, the behavior, the self-determination, the philosophy, the values are different. Now, the Zulu is waiting on others who are Zulu. So I did an experiment, not an experiment, but I went to speak in Kenya when I was there. So I went to Nairobi University and I said, there were about quite close to more than 100 people in the room. I said, all the Kikuyus, raise your hands, and hands went up. The Luos, hands went up. Any Masai, hands went up. Any Kampa here, hands. So I went about 6 or 8 tribes and everybody raised their hands. And I paused for a while and I said, all the Kenyans, raise your hands. The same people raise their hands. So I asked them, when you wake up in the morning, which one are you first? A Kenyan or a Kikuyu? You see the problem right there.